Hey guys, Mike McFarland here, the Lake Fork Guide. You're probably wondering, where did he go? Well, listen, in August, like always, I generally by mid August take some time off. It's the dog days of summer, it's super hot. I like to go to the mountains, go trout fishing in the high country. Um, this year, I actually did not do that. I took the time off. We went to Lake Ouachita in Arkansas. That little contest we had, Hayden Smith was the winner, but that was Crystal Springs, Lake Ouachita in Arkansas. I took a few days fishing there for the spotted bass, had a great time with the We Are 22 Foundation and Mr. Rick Carter, and then I came home to remodel McFarland's Corner. Folks, this has been a big undertaking here. I have done all this all by myself. I basically deconstructed the whole inside and I've rebuilt it. I've framed it out now. It's about 250 square feet. It's going to be a private corner. It's going to be dehumidified, AC'd, heat. I already have the garage heated in the winter, but not AC'd. So it's going to be really nice to come into McFarland's Corner now and have everything AC'd. I've got some extra cabinets coming in place of those two little deals there. That is actually going to go bye-bye and go back out to my other shop. But listen, this is what I've been doing. You've been wondering where I was. Last couple weeks, blood, sweat, and tears. I framed this all by myself, waiting for an electrician. And then I can drywall it, tape texture paint. I'm going to epoxy the floor. Really, truly, finally turn this in to McFarland's Corner. I'm going to be able to hang all my trophies, pictures, memorabilia on this huge wall right here. And I just can't wait till it's all done to show you. But listen, let's go ahead and move forward now. I've told you what I've been up to. We can give you a little fishing report, a little Lake Fork rundown if you bear with me for just a second here. Why ain't that going in there like always? That should go in there. There we go. All right, let's talk to you about Lake Fork. So the last couple weeks we haven't been talking. Man, it is hot. It is hot, hot, hot. I've only been able to work in this garage till about 12 or 1 o'clock, and then I'm just buckets of water pouring out of me. Things really haven't changed on Lake Fork. From the last report that I gave you, which was probably like 3 weeks back now, I think, the water's in the upper 80s, fishing slow. If you're not fishing early and late or at night, you are struggling. Now, things have changed just a little bit, and I'll go through and tell you why. Even though I haven't been fishing, I've still been keeping track of the lake. I've got friends that are fishing. I've got good peers, good guide friends that are still on the water. So I do know the scoop, and I'm going to share that with you. Water temperatures as of this week, upper 80s, lower 90s. It has been dog hot out there. You can see how hot I am here just sitting in my garage right now with no AC kicking in here or anything. It's the hottest time of the year. Stagnant, no wind. It's really got the water temperatures in this upper 80s, lower 90s. You're going to find some backwaters that are probably mid 90s, 94, 96. The slop and the muck and the junk is going to get really, really hot every day. What's unique about some of that, though, is down below it in the mud, it's cooler. We're drying my pond up, pumping it out right now, getting ready to dig again, making it even better, deeper. And I just waded out there knee deep in it, in the muck and the mud, whatever you want to call it, and it was actually cool. It was amazing. I really expected it to be like, it's only 2, 3, 4 feet where I was. I expected it to be hot, and it was cool in the muck. So the fish potentially are still healthy, and fishing is good. What I'm hearing is it's pretty stable. It's fair to at the least. Clarity, 0 to 1. It's starting to have that yucky fall brown. Almost looks like it might have turned over. You're seeing browsing floating. You're seeing the bubbles and the yellow colored water bubbles. And if you're in some of those mucky areas, I would look for new areas. Find windblown, churned areas. Points seem to be the best this time of year. But let's go ahead and finish the board here with the lake levels. 402.03 as of Monday. 401.91 as of today. That's really not that much. I mean, you're talking an inch or so in 4 or 5 days. So there's really not much going on with the lake level. It is dropping. And 403 is full pool. So we're just a tiny bit below, 1 foot below full pool. In great shape for the fall. I would prefer to see this lake in the fall and winter low, 2 and 3 feet low in the winter. Fish is much better. The fish really get on the stumps. They get in the stumps that got roots. They get on the bigger stumps, not all the stumps. And so when you can see the tops of those stumps, it gives you something to target to pitch to. It makes it a lot easier. All right. What are we doing? Well, first thing I want to tell you is, even though it's as hot as it is, the days are shortening. They've been shortening since mid-July. And so because that's happening, you notice the days getting shorter, the nights getting longer. So we were launching at 6 a.m. Now it's not light till almost 7 a.m. Mother Nature is unique, and the fish already understand that. So there are some patterns that are developing already, early fall patterns that you can look for. One of them is offshore schooled up fish. They've been offshore schooled up all summer, and now all they're going to do is kind of move with the bait. The bait fish is going to present itself and into the mouths of the coves, getting ready to migrate up those coves as soon as we have a really good cool spell. All right, and that cool water it excites them. That's shallow. We get a good 2 or 3 day rain, cool rain, small cold front, boom, it's all going to go up it. It's fresh, cool water after a long, hot summer. All right, so things in some places, like Birch Creek and some of the main creeks, you can already have some of that staging like bass do in the spring. They know it's coming, so they're already kind of staging for that. And what you're going to do is you're going to look for surface activity. Believe it or not, right in the mouths of some of these coves, white oaks, birch, the larger ones, the mouth of Williams, Little Mustang, even Mustang, some of the offshore structures and reefs, you can potentially, with deep water edges, you're going to see the bait get pushed by those schooling fish. And there's no better bait than the top water. You can probably catch them on jerk baits, chatter baits, anything thrown into the surface boil is going to get bit. But one of my favorites is the evergreen shower blow. All right, in the fall, I love to have the feather on it, where in the spring I may not. They're really keyed in on a lot of the bait, and they're actually like to get a lot of injured bait in the fall. So this extra little bit of flash on my top water, when I stall it, it's still got a little bit of flash and flicker. I really do like the feather in the fall, and that's what I'm calling this, an early fall bite. But get your top waters together, because it is time. Now, you're not going to throw this all day long. Have it on the boat for surface activity. Look for surface activity. Listen. Listen for toilet flushes. That's what a big bass sounds like when it's hitting the surface. It does not sound like ka-splash, kerplop. It's thrash, terror, chasing, and toilet flushes, suction. So if you're hearing that, they are big bass. All right. Now let's get on to what would I actually throw that on. Man, as always, I'm going to lay true and loyal to Mr. Louis Vaughn and real-time rods. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay there. 2022 is coming, and we're going to have another awesome season with some of the best equipment that I've ever used. So I'm going to throw my top water on a 20-pound monofilament. All right. I'm going to throw it on the Bass On, B-A-S-S on O-N. Bass On. It's made by Mason. 20-pound monofilament. I'm going to throw it on my real-time 7'10" CB 1530. All right. I usually want to have a 200 reel on this. I'm going to go with a Daiwa 200 HD. I don't really worry too much about high-speed gear ratios. Standard 6 gear ratio is good. 6.3 is fine. If you tend to go really fast with the top water, you don't need it. You don't have to keep up with the fish. You may overfish. But I like long casts. That's what's really unique about this bait. The evergreen has its weighted in the back and it's projectiled like a bullet. So it really flies a long, long ways. And when you're having those fish boil random around you and you need to make that long cast, the shower blows gets it done. And this rod handles that. All right. This rod is very powerful. You can boat flip a 10-pounder with this rod. I throw a lot of Alabama rigs on this rod as well, which we're going to talk about real soon, but not until we have that first cool down. So that CB 7'10", 1530 made by Real Time Rods. That's my top waters for the fall. All right. I'm going to be looking for that early and late. The rest of the time, I'm going to be like my rod socks. I love these things. They just really make a difference in how your rods, the life of your rods, whether your rods scratch up on each other, and more or less the lack of tangling in between rods is huge. It's huge. So here's a couple ways now you should just be traditionally fishing, just as we were before I took a break. You see what I mean by hot? This is an insulated garage to boot, heavily insulated garage. And it is so hot outside right now and so stagnant that I can't even keep this thing cool, aside from costing me $300 a month, and I ain't doing that. So The same way I was fishing 3 weeks ago. Shaky heads with trick worms, mag trick worms. Wobble heads with big worms, preferably the 10 and 12 inch power worms. Football jigs, hard to beat. But the same thing we've been doing. Hit probably 12 to 20 foot of water, so you're going to want to put yourself on these points. Look for the deep breaks. Look for a nice flatted point that has a deep, sharp break in deep water. So the break may be at the 12 foot when there's 25, 28 foot of water nearby, okay? If you could have a creek and a tree line that's in 45, 50 feet, even closer, all three of those things tied together, you probably have some fish coming and going, feeding in those specific wind-blown points. No wind, you're still going to grind. You may get a few bites, but they're not going to feed that well. My favorite is the wobblehead. All right, the wobblehead, and when September comes, I go to the 12-inch power worm. One of my favorite colors is just going to be a simple red shad. But there are some other colors that work really well as well. Blue fleck is very hard to beat. The plum, anything in the purple or plum. One thing I've learned in hot, dirty summer water is plum with a fire tail on it. I don't know what it is about purple and an orange fire tail. It's just something big bass eat in the middle of summer. The others, finally, you can do the wobblehead and get the Tom Mann's 12-inch jelly worm. Be real cautious on the size of the hook. That's a really big worm, and a lot of times you're going to lose and miss a lot of fish because the hook's not big enough. There is a brand of wobbleheads that you can change out your hook, and there are some specific wobbleheads made with larger hooks. When you go to that 10, 12, 14-inch worm and a wobblehead, you need that longer profiled, larger hook. But again, fish this on the points, fish this on the wind-blown points. If there's any wind, I'm going there first. Fish this through the shell beds, put the boat in about 20 and throw to 10, okay? Same thing with the Magnum shaky head. I would put the boat in 8 or 10 and throw out to 20 because I like to drag the shaky head uphill, all right? Shaky head and the wobble head, I'm going to throw on the same rod. I'm going to throw this on the Real Times MB 7'3", 1530, okay? 20-pound fluorocarbon line, 7-1 gear ratio, Daiwa 150 Tatula, all right? Shaky head, jig, wobble head, they're all going to go on that same equipment. Remember, 20-pound test fluorocarbon, never any less than 20 pound for these big fish, with the exception of this. And I'm going to leave you with this. Many, many times, just like in winter, when you get to the bottom, the coldest of the cold, the fish don't have a big appetite. They're lethargic. Finesse fishing is a great way to catch them. Smaller profiles. It's the same in the peak of summer, okay? I have talked about this in the past, and I've posted about it in the past. When we get to this point where the fish are lethargic, their digestive rate is still up high because the water temperature is hot, and they need to eat, but they don't want to bulk up. They want to tidbit. So big females, for example, will go looking for crumbs. They let the schooling bass eat the shad. The bits and pieces that fall are what they get to clean up. They don't burn any energy. They're not hot and sweaty like I am right now because they're not burning any energy, yet they get rewarded calories. So where I'm going here is the one and only time that I do go a little lighter in my line on Lake Fork, and I have to. It's finesse fishing. First thing I'm going to tell you, this is my finesse rod. This is absolutely a McFarland's signature finesse rod that I really put together for this purpose only, okay? This is a rod that can handle the big fish, but at the same time, present and be finesse-like to get that bite and do what needs to be done to do so. So the first thing is I'm still going to use a Tatula Daiwa with a 7-3 gear ratio, 7-1. I'm going to put 15-pound fluorocarbon instead of 20. All right. The rod is an MB 7'3", 1020. That's a 4-power rod. All right. With this 15-pound fluorocarbon, now I'm going to go to the Santone Finesse round head. It's a round head jig. Okay. I'm going to go as light as 1/8 ounce if I can. Sometimes I'll start heavy and I'll still crash the brush piles. I'll still clunk through the shell beds, the same exact places that I've been throwing the mag trick worm and the wobblehead and the 12-inch worm. I'm going to go throw this bait. All right, so I do want to start, with I think a 5/8 is the heaviest that I wear that Santone makes, but which is almost a 1/2 ounce. So sometimes if I'm crashing brush piles, I may want, and deep, I may still want that 5/8 or as close to 1/2 ounce as I can get. If I'm real light and I'm around docks and things, and I want a slow fall, I'm probably going to go to the 1/8. My 2 favorite colors in this finesse jig are peanut butter and jelly and bass candy. On the PB&J, I keep it simple with a little green pumpkin trailer. On the bass candy, I almost always have some kind of chartreuse, whether it be claws of a crawfish, or if it's a rage tail, rage tail, I'm going to do a little bit of chartreuse and give them this bass candy as a brim. Okay, I absolutely love this bait in the fall. Last year I caught a 9-pound, 7 or 8 ounce over off of a dock up in Birch with that exact bait. It really was unique to realize that big fish don't always eat big, and I realized that years and years ago. So that finesse jig right there, be surprised at how big fish will eat it. Whether you're down south fishing the shell beds and the deep points, the road beds, or whether you're absolutely up in the north end flipping docks, it'll get you a big one. All right, so that's it. That's what I've been up to. I'm sorry everything is kind of in a shambles, and it's going to be for a little while. Again, I'm waiting for an electrician. We're going to put in some extra lighting in here. We're going to super insulate it so it's soundproof. There'll be no more raindrops. There'll be no more acorns. There'll be no more interruptions. So that I can take 2022 and get more serious about the YouTube channel and these reports than I ever have before. We're going to prioritize a private corner, which is going to have on the water reports as well in the private corner. But you can see I'm taking this seriously. And so look forward to some really good reports, good lessons, and even just some fishing shows here in the fall. Remember, in the fall, I don't fish that much with guides. So I'm going to be fishing myself. Watch for some of those fishing shows. Man, I can't thank you enough. If you are still watching me right now, after all this rambling and talking about my life, I'm so grateful. You have no idea. First, I thank you. First, I thank God. And then I thank you for being great fellow followers. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button below. Comment. If you have any ideas for the future, please put those in below. Check this out. I want to show you something here that I even got. I saw this in the Lake Fork Marina store, and it matches our logo. It needs the red eye, but I'm going to put a little Christmas light on it. It's going to get mounted up on the wall, and again, I'm going to be able to have this truly be a showroom. And I know I'm rambling and bouncing all around. That's where my head is going right now. So again, I'm going to close you. Thank you so much for watching. Find me on Instagram, The Lake Fork Guide. Find me on Facebook, Lake Fork Adventures Guide Service. Appreciate you watching. Look forward to giving you a rundown. And I'm going back to work next week. Next Thursday, I go back to work again. So I'll start getting you weekly reports as we've been doing throughout the year. Thanks again. Appreciate you. God bless.